All right, Miss Tangela, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to talk about your book. So, before I say anything, I just want to give you the floor so you can just introduce yourself, anything you want people to know before we get into your book.
Well, I am Tangela Williams-Spann. I am a mental health blogger, and I wrote a book about some of my experiences in the world, and I hope people enjoy it.
I think they will. I think they will. So, had mine on pre-order for a while, so just waiting. So,
Thank you. Thank you so
no,
much.
no, absolutely. I I thought it was coming out on the 15th, but it's actually coming out this Thursday, which is August the 5th. So tell
Mhm.
everybody basically the title and then like a good give a Tangela synopsis, not what we're gonna read on the back of the book, but like what it was like writing the book, what we can find in the book. Go for it.
Okay, so my title is Sad, Black, and Fat, Musings from the Intersection. And that,
Love the title. Sorry to interrupt. That title was like perfect.
no, thank you. That was actually the last piece of the book I came up with because the books itself started off as just blog posts
Mm,
over the course of a few years. And I realized, hey, I always wanted to write a book and I've got all this content here. Let's see if I can do something with it.
right, absolutely.
So the book itself, I have it in three sections, obviously. And the sad section talks about my battle with depression and anxiety and mental health type stuff. The Black section is about my experiences being a Black woman in America, which can be a trip sometimes.
Yep.
And the Fat section talks about my journey with weight loss surgery.
Okay.
And it really talks a lot about those first few weeks right after surgery, that a lot of people don't really talk about. And I had
Yeah.
no idea what was going to be going on. So I figured that section would really help a lot of people if they're struggling with making that decision for themselves.
Right.
It's like, this is what really happened to me, and it could happen to you. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're okay with that, then great. This is the real deal. And I talk in that section also about some body image issues, and I hope it'll be helpful.
Okay. And then the intersection is the intersection from I can't even say it right now. I'm all tongue tied. Musings from the intersection. That part just
Mhm.
tied everything together so perfectly. So one thing I wanted to ask, actually before we got started, but I'll ask now. How did you come up with the concept of the cover? Because I'll post the cover for everybody to see it once I edit down the interview. But like the cover is phenomenal, and like at first I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cute. But then when I actually took a moment and looked at what was going on in the background, like it
Mhm.
fits. I love it. So how did you come up with the concept for the cover?
Cover, I cannot take too much credit for. I just said,
Okay.
yes, I love it. My editor, Brie Michelle, I
Yeah.
love her. She's wonderful. We hired an artist on Fiverr, actually.
Nice.
And I believe the artist name is Carrie Watson on Fiverr. You can look her up. She does fantastic work.
Shout out to
Um,
Carrie. Okay.
yeah, shout out to Carrie. But she sent a couple of different proofs over with some different fonts and things. I'm like, that's the one. That's it right there. That's her. I
Nice.
love it.
Yeah, I love the book cover. Do you want to tap into because I love how like your career also ties into like your passion that you're able to put on paper and share with everybody. Do you want to share any particular excerpts from the book that I guess moved you as you wrote, or that you feel is going to move other
Hmm.
people as they read?
Well, let's see. I wrote this book over the course of a few years
Okay.
and even up to this year. And there is a poem I wrote. I think that was the last piece of the book.
Okay.
And it's called Sun and Stars. And well, let me just read a bit of it first.
Absolutely. Please do. I love poetry.
It starts off, I love you more than anything. Your face matches mine right down to the lines. You have a big laugh and a bigger heart. Tall, poofy hair, my sun and stars. Goofy, helpful, more insightful than you realize. Such a sweet child, nearly a man grown now. I have to let you discover your own path, but how? It's not safe for you out there. The world is unkind to those like us. Black and young, male in particular, and different from those who try to confine you with labels. And that's just a little bit of it. And I was really having a hard time with all the gun violence in the country. And, you know, my little baby, excuse me, are 17 next week, and I've got to let him go, and I am terrified. And
Yeah.
that was just a bit of my feelings about it at the time.
Yeah. Um, when you're talking about, since we're on the subject a little bit of the piece for Black, can you share any of your experiences in the book from that particular section, just about being a woman of color out in this world?
Yeah, sure. There are a couple of pieces in there. One talks about the importance of having Black teachers for kids, in which, you know, education is close to my heart. That's what my master's degree is going to be in, special ed, which I'm almost done with. Yay.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have another piece that talks about a trip I made to a courthouse, and I had to cross a protest line that day. And that was about the time that gay marriage was legalized in this country.
Okay.
And so I had a interesting interaction with the gentleman. I'm not going to give spoilers for the book, but I had a very intense interaction there. And another piece talks about disparity in this country and how Black people have had to just look out for themselves all this time in our communities, and it's lacking now the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And I point that out. And I also have a section that talks about my ancestors, and in our community, we have Cahokia Mounds not far from here. And it's a World Heritage Site where the Mississippian culture rose in the middle of the country. And a lot of the mounds are still there. And there's the biggest one can go, there's stairs you can climb up, and you can see all the way to St. Louis from the top of the mound. And I wrote about just thinking about how those women live their lives, you know, and like, were they satisfied? Was this enough? Was everything all right with them, you know? And just thinking about that. And that's just, it's kind of all over the place, but it covers the spectrum, I think. Yeah, especially in my fat section with the weight loss stuff. It's like, this is what was going on with me. Gotcha. And this is the advice that I got. And this is what helped, this is what didn't.
Right.
But, you know, your results may vary. This is just what worked for me. It might help you. It might tell you, okay, I know for sure this is not going to be for me. This is not the move. And that's fine. But I feel like I can help people in that way.
Okay, well, when you first said that, though, like I wanted to know more. Is there anything that you can share from that experience? Because as soon as you said it, I'm nosy. I want to know now what was going on. So I mean, is there anything you can share from that section?
Yeah, sure. Especially at the beginning of my decision to get the surgery, I had the gastric sleeve in December of 2018, I want to say. You know, the last few years kind of run together.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And before you have the surgery, sometimes they ask you to lose a little weight beforehand, which is par for the course, I think.
Yeah.
And I had done that since July. I lost maybe 20 pounds, and we're in December now. And before you have the surgery, you have to do a liquid diet to shrink your liver so it's not in the way when they go in laparoscopically to get your stomach out.
Okay.
And that first 10 days, the liquid diet drives you up the wall. Because you know, the people around you aren't on a liquid diet. Like, your kid still has to eat food. Your husband is still eating food.
Right.
And I'm here with my chicken broth, and it's like, I hate everything about everyone in this house, you know?
Yes.
And they say, you know, you get past that first 3 days and you can do it. And, you know, if you're determined, you can do it. But it's so miserable and anxiety inducing. But hey, you know, I lost 15 pounds in that 10 days. And that was okay. all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
maybe this isn't so bad, you know?
So at the
And
3-day mark,
then
were you still crazy and mad, or
I had
did you ease out?
resigned. Yes, I'd resigned
Okay,
myself to it at that point. It was
gotcha,
just like, all right, we're doing this. This is a real thing now.
gotcha.
And then, you have your surgery, and they usually keep you in the hospital maybe a day to make sure you're not reacting badly to the medicine and everything.
Yeah,
And I happened to have had my surgery on Christmas Eve. And so,
Angela. Okay, okay,
well, there's reasons for that, but that's
gotcha.
another
Yeah,
thing. Um, and I will tell you that being in the hospital on Christmas is the saddest thing you can imagine.
I know.
And it's sad, and it's like I feel terrible. You see all these, they want you to up and walking, so I'm walking
Yeah,
around the unit, and so
yeah,
it's like I'm peeking in the rooms, and there's these little old people, and they're sad and lonely too, and it's like, my lord.
yeah. So then it goes back to the sad section. It's
And
like it's
then we're
all
sad, and then we're sad, and not
dang.
only are you sad, you cannot eat to make yourself feel better because they
Right,
took out 80% of your stomach.
right, right,
So you need a new coping mechanism on top of all of this.
right. Oh no, okay.
And so that's just the very beginning of your surgery story.
I mean, if the people don't read
Yeah.
this book, they're missing out because that's crazy. Um, so I wanted to ask, is this book, well, two questions, but this one, do you feel that this book is, how do I word it? How do you feel this book is going to impact people that don't identify as we identify? So maybe the white male, the white woman, someone not of color. How do you think they would view your words when they pick up this book? Um, I feel it would be a positive and true representation of what a certain demographic of women are going through. But what do you feel, or what do you want that reader to get out of your book?
I'm going to say, first of all, that I know there are certain white people that will pick up the book and read it and say, I don't believe it.
Mm,
I don't believe this happened. I don't
mm,
believe people view things this way. They just flat out disbelief and not look at it another day in their lives. And that's fine. If that's how they feel, okay. I can just give you my truth, and if you choose not to accept it, that's not on me, you
flat
know.
out. I love
But
how
I
real you
also,
are. I love it.
yeah, I also feel like people will pick up the book, people that don't look like me and you, and say, "Oh wow, that's a trip. This is how it is," you know. And it's like, open some eyes
Yeah.
and hopefully get more allyship
Right.
with our communities that are out here struggling. And it's like, we can't overcome white supremacy without white people, guys. And I hate to say it like that, but it's true.
Right.
We've been
Right.
trying a long time to get that accomplished, and we've made not a lot of progress.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we kind of need their help.
Very well worded. I love that answer. Um, so true. There's nothing I need to add about that. So I was gonna the second question that I was thinking about, is this a look at adult Tangela, or do you get to go back and we get to see some of the how Tangela began and how all this kind of culminates around just a lifespan for you?
Well, we go back a little bit. It's still adult me, but it's younger adult me before I figured out some things about my life. And I talk about when my baby was first an issue. And I hate to say an issue, but it was an issue for me at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I go back to when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I go through my 20s and in my 30s in this book. And you know, just looking back at it, it's like I don't feel like I did a lot, but it was a lot.
You're doing a lot now. What are you talking about? You're doing a lot now. I think it's amazing.
Hmm.
It,
Yeah.
it, I percent. Can you shout out some of the places where, because I'm at the end, I'm going to ask you to just give where you want people to connect with you. But before we do that, can you shout out some of the places where your essays have been posted? Because I see on your social media, like different people are shouting you out, like people are recognizing your
Mhm.
work. So what are some of the people who have what's the word? I guess accepted? Is that the correct
Accepted,
vernacular?
yeah.
Yeah, some of your essays, and which one has meant the most to you?
Right now, I have an essay in Limoncello magazine in their summer 2021 issue. It's called Motherhood: The New Frontier.
Dope.
And yeah, I really go into my pregnancy and labor story.
Okay.
And it was a really, I'll say, emotional thing to write for me. And I mean, if you read it, you'll see why. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it took at least 15 years for me to get to the point where I was able to write something like that. And it was
Okay.
really, really emotional for me. And I'm sure that'll come across if you guys read it, but it is on their website right now at limoncellomagazine.com.
Okay.
And like I said, I have a link on my blog. Um, and there was another one. I Did that get published yet? I don't know if I'm allowed to say yet, but
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I have one of my essays coming soon in another magazine that I don't think I can talk about yet, but I am excited about that one as
Okay.
well.
Nice, nice. Okay. And then just going forward, like, what do you want anybody who drops by and watches this? What do you want them to know about the future for Tangela, whether it's writing, career? Are there any goals or anything that you're aspiring to in the near future or even far future?
My goal is to be able to connect with people, and I want to bring people together. If we use me as a linchpin, that's fine. If we can connect on some other level, that's okay too. I want to build connections with people, and I'm doing that by being my most authentic self. And if we click, then great. If not, that's also fine. You know, people drift in and out of your life for a reason. And I would also like for my blog to have more readers, obviously, to build an audience. That would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're going to stop by, first of all, thank you for stopping by. And I hope that I give you something that you can use
Yeah.
in your life and hopefully make it a little bit better, make it a little bit more pleasant, get a chuckle out of the day, whatever. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
good with me. If you're good, then I'm good.
There you go. I think with the blog for sure, like you can't walk away feeling some type of way, even if like I don't know, they walk away challenged. I see that as a positive because you were
Hmm.
made to think about a different perspective than maybe what you thought was going on in your own little bubble. And I think that's what people get from your blog. Not only is it real, but you get that positive. And if it's not a positive to you, you're obviously feeling challenged for some reason. So think
Hmm.
about the perspective that you're being given. And so I think you bring that to the people very, very well.
I
Um,
definitely try to be as positive as possible. That's why at the end of my blog post, I tell people that I love them
yeah,
because there are people in the world that don't hear that. And it's so huge. It's like, I don't have to know you to love you.
right,
You
right,
have to give me a reason to not love you,
right.
is my perspective on that.
Or even like they don't know how to receive and I love you. There are many people in my life now, like I'm
Hmm.
saying I love you, it's because I mean it and I do, but
Hmm.
they don't know how to receive it. And so with reading your blog and realizing like this person is mad real, they're telling me like stuff in a very uh wrapped nice but very raw way to know that they're going through what I'm going through, and if they can receive love and say it, maybe it should be easier for me to do so too. So even if
Hmm.
the challenge is recognizing what that love is. So I agree. I can't wait until August 15th to dive into the book. Very excited for you. If there's any way that I can support you going forward, please reach out, um, with the retweeting, whatever it may be, even if like, I mean, I've been telling people about it, whatever it takes for you to get to where you aspire and I can be a part of that positive journey, let me know. I don't say that to everybody, just the people I like. So where do you want people to find you?
You can find me online. There's my website, first of all. That's twillspannwrites.com. That's where all of my current stuff is going right now. There's my blog and links to my other writing. Socials, you can find me on almost every social platform at T Wills-Spann. That's TWILLSPANN.
Mhm.
And I'm mostly on Twitter, but I do have a Facebook page as well. There's a Pinterest, but I don't do a whole lot with it. And Instagram, of course.
Right. I just
I'm
take
on, I'm
recipes.
on, yeah, I just look at pretty pictures. It's like, oh, that's
Right.
cute.
Right.
Yeah, I am T Wills-Spann across the socials. I've got a TikTok too, but once again, I'm learning on that. It's, I'm getting kind of up there in age, so it's not really for us older folks sometimes.
Look, I made one just because like I heard, some authors saying, oh, that's the new move for writers. Listen, it's been sitting there for months and all it has is my name on it. I'm like, okay, I'm 43. But so it's like I don't know how to use I don't know how to do none of that stuff. So I stick to the ones I know how to use and leave the rest. So
yeah, but if you're really looking for me, you can find me on Twitter almost all the time.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, I thank you for your time. Any last words or shout outs you want to give out there to the people?
I just want to shout out all of us out there trying to do our best in this crazy world, because Lord knows, it's a lot.
It is. Well, you got me in your corner for real. It's like real talk. That's why, I asked you to be. Yeah, that's why I asked you to be a part of this. I wanted people to know about the wonderful you, the wonderful blog, the wonderful book that's to come. And I really hope they get in there and dive deep. So thank you, Tangela.
Thank you for having me.
All right.